Is that offensive pass interference?
No, that is a kind of push that would not send him going to the ground where he's not running backwards and caught up in his own feet. I think that's why we react to it that way, because it looks so aggressive. But in the end, it's such a subjective call because there was a lot of jostling before that final move. And it was the trip that made us feel like that was the definitive moment in the exchange. I think there was plenty going on before that. It was just a matter of where his feet were when he got in that position. I'm okay with no call. And this is such an inconsistent call in general that I think trying to blame the game on that play would simply be a cop-out for the other things that happened before and after.
Ramona Shelburne, was that offensive pass interference?
I'm going to say no also. I didn't think it was. I thought there was a little bit of hands going on, but I didn't really see a push. I think it was the cornerback was more just off balance. And after the game, they weren't making any excuses. They didn't blame it on that. I think if you're the Cowboys, you look at the missed field goals, you look at CeeDee Lamb's drops. There's a lot of other reasons they lost that game, and it wasn't that play.
Lee?
Yeah, I'm right there with Sarah and Ramona. I think that there was a lot of things that led up to that moment that was the reason why the Cowboys lost. And I think that was a play where the ball is thrown off shoulder and everyone's kind of off balance. And it's a 50-50 play, especially when you're in Tampa Bay and it's the night that the Buccaneers are putting up the banner for the championship.
Well, okay, hold on a second. Let's spelunk a little bit deeper here then. Because it was the defending champs, because it was Tom Brady, then we're not going to make that call, June?
No, what I'm saying is that the referees are probably going to be inclined to not make that call because they are in Tampa Bay.
Well, that's what you're
saying.
saying.
And it's one of those things where
yeah. Admit to what you're saying, June. It's fine if that's how you feel it is. Are you making that call? I know the Cowboys have reasons why they lost the game. I know the Buccaneers have reasons why they won. But that specific hand motion from a receiver extending like that, are you making that call?
No, I'm not.
And Justin Tinsley, how about you?
Leave it to the Cowboys to have an egregious call on a pass late downfield on the road to decide a game for them. Do I think it was offensive pass interference? Yes, but I don't think it cost them a game. There were too many self-induced errors for the Cowboys throughout the game. They missed the extra point. They missed the 31-yard field goal. They missed the block on the goal line for Zeke, which would have allowed him to walk in. And at one point in the first half, they had a false start on the entire offensive line. There were too many self-induced errors for me to say that was the play
Again, well, I'll bring Sarah here. You've heard before, oh, well, he's an MVP caliber player. He doesn't get that call, or he gets that call, right? A Super Bowl champion team at home on the opening night with the greatest quarterback of all time. Does that factor into it all? Should it? Go ahead, Sarah.
Well, no, it shouldn't at all, no. But I don't think we can remove the humanity of the people who are making those calls, whether or not is that defender all-pro, one of the best known? Are they going to get the benefit of the doubt on the play because of who they are and their play in the game before that? How have they been calling the rest of the game? Of course it shouldn't be. It should be, did this apply to the rules that we use to decide whether something is or not? But you have to remember that they're all humans.
We went into the game wondering if the Buccaneers are going to be better than they were last year, right? That was our discussion on yesterday's show. And they won with a little bit of an escape. You know, they had some tense moments late. Arians refusing to call a timeout at certain times. You go in wondering if the Cowboys are going to disappoint, if Dak is going to look like Dak. And it was definitive. A tremendous performance for Dak Prescott. June, where do you want to start? Your number one takeaway from the game?
It was the fact that Tom Brady looks better at throwing the long ball than he has in a long time. He was 7 of 10 last night, throwing balls longer than 15 yards. I mean, in his last year with the Patriots basically created an offense that was basically throwing short passes and keeping things really safe. He looked way more confident throwing deep balls last night than he has in a long time. I think part of that has to do with his receiving core, but it's also Tom Brady's 44 years old, and he's somehow still getting better. It's truly, truly ridiculous.
Yeah, you read that report, I'm sure, June, that some Buccaneers coaches thought Brady was primed to have his best year ever at 44 after seeing him last night. Are you on board with that?
Yeah, I mean, there's one of those things where it makes me wonder if Brady's about to go on a run of his third string of Super Bowls with the Buccaneers. Like, it doesn't seem implausible right now.
Ramona Shelburne, your number one takeaway from last night?
Look, we went into this game thinking, let's just hope Dak looks okay. Jerry Jones even said it's David versus Goliath out there. This was a great game. Dak Prescott looked like he can play. I mean, this is a guy who sat out a month because he had a shoulder injury in camp, too. I mean, it we haven't seen him in about a year. And I actually think the Cowboys, if you walk out of that, yeah, they wanted to win the game, but they don't play another team who had a winning record last year until November 21st when they played the Chiefs. They look like a team that can rattle off some wins.
Okay, so you're, changing the way you feel about the Dallas Cowboys after what you saw last night. Sarah, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with Ramona. It's mostly Dak, right? Mentally and physically, he didn't seem to have any fear in putting his body out there, and then his play was spectacular. I think the defensive side of the Cowboys is what we're all wondering about, and they were better. It certainly was better, but I don't think that we should get confused by the statistics at the end of the game to tell us what kind of defense this might be. I think Bruce Arians said it himself at halftime. We gave them the takeaways. They didn't take them away. So if you have a less generous offense, I should say, that you're playing against, will the Cowboys still look like they can get the stops that they need so it isn't always a shootout, and so it's not required so much of Dak. But I think that's it. The interesting thing I heard someone say yesterday was every team in the NFL except the team that won last night feels better about their championship title chances. And that's because the Bucs did look a little bit more human than everybody was saying. They're going to go undefeated and win it again. Everybody's back. I do think the Bucs also made me think a little bit about
what was it for you in Tampa's game? I know the Godwin fumble late in the game makes it a completely different game, right? I mean, Tampa could have gone up big at that point. So what was it specifically that made him look more human to you?
There are concerns in the secondary, and there are definitely concerns with just offensive. I know last year they started really slow and they got much better, so there's time to clean it up. But it just wasn't the machine you expected from a team returning all of its starters and coaches.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.